nuts. Come one, come all, my children of the night, as we once again approach the... I've done that one before, haven't I? Double, double, toil and trouble. No, that one's shit too. Ookie dookie, it's time to get spooky. That's literally the worst one. Okay, so I ain't got a rhymey opening this year. Honestly, I'm just surprised I was able to get this video done for October. Assuming I did. Look, I'm just trying to make sure this Halloween special isn't a total disaster after the debacle that was last year's. Now, I don't hate Halloween Games 3, it was a perfectly fine video. Not sure why my bra was visible for most of it, but there we go. What it was, however, was both extremely long and painfully late, which is probably why it didn't do very well. I mean, who's gonna watch a nearly hour-long Halloween special released on the doorstep of Christmas? The writing was on the wall for poor old Halloween Games 3, and that writing said... Zippity-zorly, this video will do poorly. But let's not focus on that, because that was last year. Or 11 months ago, to be more precise. And we have an entirely new set of spoopy games to take a look at. So, without further delay, let's dive right into Halloween Games 4. Last year, we took a look at Luigi's Mansion for the Nintendo GameCube, and I really enjoyed it. But I thought that, well, it wouldn't be fair if we just stopped after the first game, so why don't we see how its sequel turned out? No, not that one. The other one. The new one. It came out with... There we go. Luigi's Mansion 3 was released on Halloween Day 2019 for the Nintendo Switch, and is almost certainly the most recent game I've ever done in this series. The game opens up with a tour bus being driven by... Oh no, I don't think he should be allowed to drive. No, he definitely shouldn't be allowed to drive. Someone needs to stop him before... Okay, so in actuality, the bus doesn't crash, and we catch up with Luigi snoozing in the back. Ghost dog, run away! So it turns out, skipping the middle game might have meant that I missed some vaguely important story events. Looks like we'll have to fill in the blanks ourselves. Take it away!
How Luigi got his ghost dog.
Once upon a time, Luigi was driving his pickup truck down a dark, spooky road, when suddenly he hit a very hairy speed bump. Okay, we don't need to go into this anymore. The point is, Luigi has a ghost dog now, and it's adorable. So you know how I said Toad shouldn't be driving? Well, it seems that frankly he shouldn't even be trusted with walking down the stairs. The bus arrives at a gigantic golden hotel that Donald Trump wishes he was tasteless enough to build. He's a fascist. We enter the hotel and actually get a chance to wander around and explore. We even get to catch up with our friends.
Doggy.
Too cute. Gonna die. Oh, for the love of Toads, get down from there. You're gonna have an accident. Drama. You know, I think something's up with the staff here. I don't know what it is, but they just feel off to me. It's probably nothing. Probably just some good old-fashioned British xenophobia. We check in at the desk and are introduced to Helen Gravely, the owner of the hotel.
Why is she purple though?
Luigi, you can't just ask people why they're purple. It's 2019.
But it's a valid question.
It's here I realise that the game sadly doesn't have any voice acting, instead replacing character speech with what I can only describe as Simlish.
Suma, Teritara, Nansum, Ti, Mako, Nosfa, Kunsa.
Which is admittedly a little disappointing. I mean, why can't we just have a fully voice-acted Mario game already? It wouldn't sound that weird.
Luigi. He was probably taken out of a context.
Okay, maybe it might sound a bit weird. So after introducing herself, Miss Gravely shows us to our rooms, making special note of the fact that not only do we have rooms, but the toads get their own as well. Oh yeah, I see how it is. Separate but equal. I can't make a joke about that. Once in his room, Luigi unpacks his things and crawls into bed, where he immediately falls asleep. Damn, that is some aggressive narcolepsy. Look, I'm all for people not letting their disabilities or health conditions get in the way of their lives or the things they want to do. However, I must question the decision to let a man who falls asleep that easily not only drive a car at high speeds, but to do so with a baby in the back seat. I just don't think it'll end well. Suddenly, Luigi is awoken by the sound of screams. He gets out of bed and begins investigating. Upon leaving his room, he discovers that something spooky is afoot. We go to check up on everyone, but they're all gone, with their rooms totally trashed as well. Also, it looks like Mario is quite the pizza lover. Don't worry, bro. I feel you on that one. Suddenly, on our way down the hallway, we're met by Helen Gravely, who was a ghost this whole time.
But why are you purple, though?
You can't just ask someone why they're purple. It's 2019.
Oh, no.
But it turns out she wasn't working alone. She's partnered up with none other than King Boo. You know, from the first one, with the Bowser mech. The round cunt. So, basically, Helen Gravely has the hots for King Boo and wants to get into his pants? Where do boos keep their genitals? So she broke him out of Egad's prison and hatched a plan to trap Luigi and his friends inside picture frames. Luigi only manages to escape this fate by jumping down a laundry chute. We come to in the basement and make our way to the underground parking lot. There we find a car which Polterpup seems to have taken a great interest in. We search the vehicle and find what appears to be an advanced poltergust inside. We're able to test the device before heading off into the rest of the game and yep, it sucks. In fact, it sucks so much that it... Holy shit, did we just kill that rat? Oh geez, forget that. You could just straight up obliterate them from existence with your flashlight. Like, there's not even a body. They just get fucking disintegrated. Anyway, combat is very similar to the first game, but with some interesting new additions. As before, we first have to stun ghosts before we can suck them up, though now it's simply done with the press of a single button, making the whole process feel a little less clunky in my opinion. Once stunned, we can latch onto a ghost, and as before, pulling away from them drains their health. However, in a new addition to the series, we now have the ability to slam them back and forth, smashing them into the ground, furniture, or even other ghosts, all to deal some extra damage. I love this new attack. It really adds some extra pow to the combat, but there is actually some strategy involved. You don't want to just be using this the first chance you get. See, in my experience, it's actually better to only start smashing after about 5 to 10 seconds of sucking. Wait, no, don't take that out of context. The reason being is that you only get a limited amount of time to slam them, and if you do it right away, they'll often escape before you finish them off. But if you drain their health enough first, then they'll actually be defeated and you won't have to re-stun them and do it all over again. You know, this game's a bit more violent than the last, isn't it? Between the vaporization and the ghost slamming, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not one of those think of the children types. I'm just pointing out how it's a little odd that the series went from, haha, Green Mario catches ghosts with a hoover, to... Luigi savagely beats 3 women to death. At first, I didn't really like the fact that they seemingly made all the ghosts these generic Casper-looking bastards, but I ended up genuinely loving this change. The ghosts in this game are really fun and are absolutely brimming with personality, plus there are other ghost variations you'll find throughout the mansion, each with their own different and unique behaviors, voices, weaknesses, and strengths. In my opinion, it's actually an upgrade from the ghosts in the first game. This looks like a fun room. I wonder what's in here. Oh look, it's Professor Eggard. How'd he get in there? One of the many new tools at Luigi's disposal is the Dark Light, a device that can be used to both uncover hidden things like doors, treasure and enemies, but also to bring people or objects out of paintings.
Don't worry, Professor. I'll fix those cataracts for you.
After rescuing Egad, he takes you back to the garage where he sets up his lab. Here he provides upgrades, training and story exposition. And it turns out our Poltergust isn't the 3000 or even the 1000. Its actual name is the Poltergust G00. And I thought Xbox was bad at names. Obviously, it's meant to resemble the word goo for the game's most prominent new feature.
It's Flubber!
No, of course, it's Luigi, the slime girl waifu of all our dreams, who was a bit of a meme when the game first came out, and frankly is simply terrifying on a conceptual level. So, Luigi has all this goo in his backpack, right? And he can dispel it and it will become a goo clone of him. This goo clone, Glone, has the unsettling ability to slosh his way through tight spaces such as grates, pipes, or prison bars like the terrifying T-1000 that he is. And the Terminator resemblances don't just stop there. This thing is completely emotionless and feels absolutely no fear.
Luigi has detected the presence of hostile spectral entities. Kill mode has been engaged, shutting off all mercy protocols. Kill, 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 kill.
His main function is to access areas of the map which Luigi cannot in order to flip switches, get treasure, or in some other way help solve puzzles. But he can also be used as a distraction or straight up bait. In several encounters I have found that sacrificing Luigi is not only beneficial, it's basically encouraged. Honestly, I'm kind of glad he can't feel. I do have to wonder though, if Luigi is a semi-sentient independent AI life form, why does Luigi lose consciousness when he's activated? I don't like the questions this game is making me ask. Another new addition to the game is the suction shot, wherein Luigi can fire a plunger onto certain surfaces, allowing him and Luigi to manipulate heavier objects. It can be used on furniture, walls, switches, and even some bosses require its use. All in all, I think it's a really fun tool with a lot of great versatile applications. And while we're on the subject of bosses, they have changed a little since Luigi's Mansion 1. Gone are passive bosses that don't actively attack you. Every boss in Luigi's Mansion 3 is aggressive, but that doesn't mean they all feel too similar to each other. Some boss fights are easy to understand. Bomb, mouth, I see what you're saying, game. But others are a little less obvious in what you have to do, and was that a dab? Was it? That is an official Mario game with a dab in it. Also, I'm pretty sure everyone here is just the guy from that Crazy Frog Racing game and oh shit. I accidentally cursed the video by mentioning Crazy Frog Racer. Sorry everybody. The puzzles in this game are also very clever and at times can be really tricky. The movie studio puzzle especially just left me stumped. I almost had to use a walkthrough, but I managed to figure it out in the end. I'm 24. I also absolutely loved the use of mirrors in this game to show things that we couldn't see with the static camera, and in conjunction with the dark light to reveal hidden objects only visible in the mirror. Absolutely magnificent. Just mwah. Chef's kiss. Now, hotels are pretty big, and this one is no exception. So how's a 35-year-old plumber from Brooklyn supposed to get around a joint like this? Well, you use the elevators, silly. When you defeat a boss, they drop elevator buttons, which you can use to unlock new floors of the hotel, which is a great streamlined approach to level progression. Getting from one part of the building to another is so quick now. You can go from floor 2 to floor 12 in the same time it would take you to go from 2 to 3, and you don't need to backtrack for hours or work in convoluted teleportation mechanics. Having the levels separated like this just works, and it makes exploration much less of a chore and more something you'd actually want to do. While out exploring the mansion, Professor Egad likes to stay in contact with you through his new invention, the Virtual Boo. You get it? Because it's like the Virtual Boy. It's so funny and refreshing to see Nintendo make fun of some of their past mistakes. Now do the rest. Unfortunately, the virtual Boo doesn't serve a huge amount of purpose in this game. The most useful thing I've found is it allows you to teleport to the lab and then jump back to where you were, but aside from that, it's got an EGAD hotline, which is rarely ever useful. And frankly, all this thing seems to do is give EGAD the means with which to constantly fucking bother me! Just shut up. Let me have fun. I just want to explore. Throughout the mansion, you're able to find all 7 Chaos you're able to find various gems. Each floor has 6 of them hidden throughout, with some being fairly easy to attain and others being more well hidden. A nice little detail is that each gem set is themed to match the aesthetic of the different floors, such as music notes for the theatre, spanners for the boiler works, or swords for the medieval floor. You know, like all hotels have. Yeah, where do people actually stay in this hotel? I've seen like a couple of bedrooms here and there, but this place is mostly just a weird amalgamation of unconnected microbiomes stacked on top of each other. Whoa, this floor's gone a bit post-apocalyptic. Oh, giant mushrooms? Nah, this shit just turns straight into The Last of Us. I can't wait for the scene where Daisy beats Mario to death with a golf club. Aw, too soon. Good. Hey, hang on. Well, that looks like... I think that's Waluigi's Smash Bros invite. He probably wasn't going to need it anyway. As with Luigi's Mansion 1, the game also features boos for you to catch, except I only ever saw like 2. You can find more of them with an item you buy from EGAD's shop, actually giving a function to all the money you keep finding, because as we learned last time, ghost money is fucking worthless. They literally keep it in bins. As you progress through the game, you rescue several toads. These are the guys who came with you to the hotel and got frozen in picture frames. After freeing them, they join you for a while until you send them down to EGAD's lab. That is the cutest fucking thing I have ever seen, and I want 12. While you have a toad with you, you're able to, well, launch them. This feature is used mainly for puzzles or treasure collecting. You can make them knock stuff over, break down walls, and generally cause them a worrying amount of head trauma.
Hey, can you throw me another croissant?
There's even a bit later on where you have to re-rescue a toad after he gets ambushed, and you have to work out where he is based on the found footage from his body cam, which on top of being a fun puzzle, is also just a very bizarre thing to have in a Mario game. Now I want a reboot of the Blair Witch Project but with Toad. This game has a terrific atmosphere, though I would say the game has lost some of its genuine creep factor that the original had. Luigi's Mansion 3 makes up for that in its sheer variety of environments, awesome sound design, stellar level design, fantastic art direction, great visual humour, and the fact that yes, it did get me a couple of times. I also want to pay my respects to this moment on floor 11, where just before the boss fight, all the doors start taking you to different rooms. It was a genuinely bewildering experience, and it really freaked me out before I realized what was happening. Eventually though, all good things must come to an end. After making our way through the hotel, we confront and capture Helen Gravely, and then we fight King Boo himself, where everything goes a bit crazy. Both these fights are excellent and really help cement that there are simply no bad boss fights in this game. Man, why'd you have to ruin everything? The actual ending to this game is strangely wholesome. After defeating King Boo, the hotel starts quaking and eventually collapses entirely. Many of the ghosts we've captured throughout our adventure end up escaping, but realize that with King Boo and Gravely gone, they no longer have to do their bidding. And so the gang decides to help build them a new mansion, and we get this really sweet montage of these absolutely adorable illustrations of everyone hard at work constructing the ghost's new home, complete with severe health and safety violations. No, I'm not feeling it today. Honestly, any criticisms I have of this game are pretty minor. The view outside the windows is a bit crappy looking, I suppose. The controls by and large are brilliant, but there are one or two slightly odd mapping choices, most notably using the dark light while walking around is really awkward. I mean, look at this weird claw hand I gotta do, what's up with that? And while I still hold true that the art direction is superb, I gotta say the scaling in this game is a bit weird. Look at how big this toilet is compared to Luigi, yet look at how low the door handles are. If Helen Gravely wanted to go through this door, well, she just phased through it because she's a ghost. She'd have to bend down to open it because the door handle would be at her bloody knees. But ignoring those very minor nitpicks, Luigi's Mansion 3 is an incredible, cute, exciting, spooky adventure that is definitely worth playing whenever Halloween rolls around. Well, wasn't that fucking lovely? After that, I feel like we need a... Oh no, what's the... A ghost? Oh, what's he doing? Oh dear, he's possessed my GameCube! Oh, I'm so sorry. Haunt the House Terror Town was a Flash-based browser game released in 2010 that eventually saw its way onto Steam as a fully fledged game in 2013. You play as a cute little ghost who must fly around a house and scare its occupants by possessing items. You keep doing this until everyone in the house has run away terrified. Wait a minute. Didn't we already do this one? When you begin the game and start possessing items, you only have a minor scare available to use. But the more you change the atmosphere of the house, the more intensities of scares become available to you. As I said before, the objective is to get people scared enough that they leave the house. It doesn't matter how, whether they run out of the front door, jump through a window, or fucking phase into the multiverse apparently. So long as they leave the premises, you can count that as a success. Now, I just wanted to get this one small criticism of the game out of the way first. But before I do, I'm just gonna pop this asterisk in the corner. Don't worry, we'll come back to it. Right, with that being said, this game's controls are fucking terrible. So you use the arrow keys to move around, which just doesn't work. It's imprecise, doesn't flow well, and is simply frustrating to use. Having to hit S to possess things is fine, but the scares being mapped to A, D, and W is just ludicrous, because in a panic, I just end up mashing the keys, and for some reason, I don't know how, I always seem to end up in the pause menu, and trying to exit that menu with escape causes the entire game to close on me. These controls are some of the most poorly thought out pieces of shit I have ever had the misfortune of using. However, remember that asterisk I put in the corner? Well, it's there for the simple, teeny tiny fact that you can actually just use a controller and it's infinitely more playable. Whoops. Oh my god, that is so much better. Okay, so pro tip for Haunt the House, speedrun strat, hidden secret of this game, plug in a controller. Your sanity will thank you. Another more serious tip for this game is essentially to try and single out people. Stalk them, follow them into whatever room they go in, and keep your attention focused on scaring them, and eventually they'll get the message. Honestly, there really isn't a whole lot more to this game. You fly around the house, possess furniture, make it go all like that, and whittle down the number of people until it reaches 0. But to keep things interesting, the game has multiple maps to play on, with North Pole just being a singular large Christmas-themed area, and the other two, Terror Town and Ghost Train, being comprised of several smaller sections which you can fly to and from as you please. One of the benefits of the maps which feature multiple locations is that being able to freely go from one area to another whenever you like really does help break up the somewhat repetitive nature of the gameplay. Bored of the hospital? Check out the cruise! Lost interest in the cruise? Why not take a trip to the theatre? Look, you can see a man doing Shakespeare and... Wait, did I just... You can kill people in this game? Yeah, no, I don't blame you, love. You just saw a man die. Fair enough. So, yes, some NPCs can't actually be scared away and need to be horribly murdered. Don't worry though, after they die you can swap out to their ghosts and force them to carry on your mission. Yeah, sorry Alfred, I know you were busy, what with being alive and all, but I decided that scaring away blocky children with Mr. Potato Head faces was more important than your continued existence. I hope that's okay. When you beat the main map of the game, Terror Town, you get this strange victory screen with a portrait of you and all the characters you killed that says, "Our family." So, Were these all members of our family? Was Alfred really Uncle Alfred? Was this game the story of a young boy who died and was lonely as a ghost, so he killed his family as to not be lonely anymore? Actually, that's quite good. I'm gonna write that down. The general look of this game is quite pleasant. Its art style is consistent and does have a fairly spoopy feel to it. I love the little touch of the items you possess having your face on them. It's quite cute. However, the game does have a few issues here and there. Sometimes the game will just lag when you try to possess things, and it actually crashed fairly regularly for me. There's also this annoying glitch where people can become stuck on the stairs, and this happened twice, both on the last person left, which was a tad annoying. Overall, Haunt the House is a decent time waster, but it is rather shallow in my opinion. Not bad, but not really mind-blowing either. I think Haunting starring Poltergeist actually did a lot more with this concept, and as such was a more enjoyable experience. It certainly had better scare animations, that's for sure.
And with that said, we come to the end of Halloween Games 4. I know, only 2 games this year. Well, you know, with the world ending and such, I felt like, you know, sacrifices had to be made. And, well, that's all for this year. So I guess I'll see you next time, and... No. No. Please, no. You can't make me!
So, if you remember last year, I played Castlevania 64. It wasn't very good. You may also recall that I never even beat Stage 1. And in light of that, I said this. I'll make sure I punish myself for this next year, punish myself for this next year, punish myself for this next year.
Me and my big mouth.
So it looks like for my sins of not going very far in the series' first 3D game, I'm being punished by playing what is considered by many to be the worst entry in the series' long history. Castlevania 2: Simon's Quest. This game needs no introduction. You've seen the AVGN episode, you know the memes. I even made a reference to this thing all the way back in Halloween Games 1. That's how long I've been running from this.
And it has been chasing me ever since, like a dog after a bacon-clad postman. Yes, it seems like playing this game was inevitable. Much like Samoa Joe or Marvel's Thanos, or the true threat to the universe, Samoa Janos. Does it seem like I'm stalling for time so that I don't actually have to play this game? Because I actually have a very interesting story about stalling for time. See, it all started about 3 years ago when I... Alright, fine.
So we start up the game and get a mercifully short prologue.
Step into the shadows of the Hell House. You've arrived
Oh, well, okay. Guess I won't read it. Luckily for those of you who love to see me suffer, I'm playing this through the Castlevania Anniversary Collection, which comes with the usual long-winded prologues for all the games right next to them on the menu. Hooray.
You're Simon Belmont, bravest of the brave, boldest of the bold, a Gothic warrior, respected by kings. You earned your praise not by crushing Viking invaders or Turkish hordes, but by destroying the evil Count Dracula in a duel to the death at Castlevania.
What, like the pay-per-view?
But your victory proved painful, as the wounds inflicted during the duel slowly gnawed at your soul. One day, though, a beautiful maiden appeared. With a soft voice, she warned that you were possessed by the Count's curse. She said your only hope of destroying the curse and healing your scars was to find the 5 body parts of Count Dracula and burn them in his castle, ending forever the reign of the Prince of Darkness. Suddenly, like most beautiful visions, she began to fade.
What? Is Simon an alcoholic? What the fuck is going on?
And as you reached to touch her, she spoke her final words.
Fear not, brave Simon, for if you have the courage to risk your life, you will find the strength to win again.
What a load of bollocks.
So, to summarize, Dracula hasn't actually returned, but before he died he put a curse on you.
I curse you!
And in order to get rid of it, you have to burn his body, which has been separated into several bits and hidden throughout the land.
Now, why is Dracula's body in several pieces? You see, there's actually a very interesting reason for that. He was very broken up after how his last relationship ended. So the game begins and I can't tell where I am. Is this me? Am I this one? Where is my Billy Belmont? Oh, here he is, completely camouflaged into the brick. Well, that's a good start. I'll tell you what else is a good start, buying a white crystal. And that's not my idea, that's what this random vagrant told me. So I guess we might as well do that. After buying a likely stolen crystal from some hooded miscreant, I make my way out of town and am almost immediately killed by overpowered enemies. Oh joy. This is going to be one of those kinds of games. Is it too late to become Amish so I'm forbidden by God from playing this? It is. Well, fuck. The basic structure to Castlevania 2 is similar to that of the original Legend of Zelda, in that it's an old game that tells you nothing and makes me want to cry. You roam across the map fighting monsters in search of special dungeons, or in this game's case, mansions, wherein you will find some piece of a puzzle you need to complete in order to beat the game, in this case, the various body parts of one Senor Dracula. And when you break it down like that, this game doesn't sound half difficult. Unfortunately, it's not that simple. The game tells you nothing. Nada. Not even what direction to go in. You just have to be lucky and pick the right way to start your adventure. And that right way is conveniently right. Going left at the start of the game basically kills you instantly. But right? Yeah, this feels more level appropriate. A big part of this game are the towns dotted around the world. They all apparently have names, but once again, the game doesn't tell you anything, so it's kind of hard to know which one you're in. But they are at least distinguishable by their colour schemes and layouts. In these towns is where you'll find villagers, merchants, and most importantly, churches, which are the only way to heal in this game. What, you thought you'd heal by picking up those hearts? Were you tattooed as a baby? This is Castlevania! Hearts are anything but health. In this game, they're currency. Because of course they are. On top of all the retail facilities, towns are also full of villagers who provide almost every piece of in-game information on what you have to do. The only problem is working out what the fuck any of them are trying to tell you. They say the most bafflingly stupid shit, like, sure, sometimes it's pretty clearly a clue, but 90% of the time, these villagers are just useless.
Dracula's eyeball reflects the curse.
What the fuck does that mean, though?
Don't look into the Death Star or you will die.
The controls in this game are, for a lack of a better term, a bit shit. Once again, we return to the classic mechanic of fixed jumping, meaning that you have zero in-air control over where you land, and you're committed to landing in a certain place the moment you leave your feet. This is terrible, and I hate it. On top of the jumping, the movement controls in general are just really bad. Unresponsive, stiff, and it is way too easy to die in this game. I seriously lost count of how many times I've jumped to my death because of these controls. Combat is also a pain in the ass. Restricted to attacking in only two directions, left and right, severely limits what Simon can do with his whip, leaving him vulnerable to attacks that come from anywhere except directly to either of his sides. Enemy placement is also, frankly, a disaster. You'll often be overwhelmed and boxed in by enemies that swarm you relentlessly. You'll jump down and fall right into a pile of skeletons you couldn't see, and sometimes you'll just get shunted back to the previous screen by an enemy you had no chance of reacting to in time. The worst enemies have to be the slimes. The fidgety, jumpy bastards are so annoying and difficult to deal with. They are followed closely by longtime favourite most hated enemy, the flying Medusa heads, and their cousins, Eyeball and Skull. Hey, is that Mr. Bones? You didn't tell me you were in this game as well, Mr. Bones. I think I liked you better when you were trying to steal my soul. When you respawn, you are put back almost exactly where you died, no matter how disadvantageous that would be for you. And did I mention that churches are the only place you can heal? Because I feel it bears repeating. Not a single item in this game will heal you. Not a pork chop, nor a roast chicken, not a magic potion, nor any combination of coloured herbs. The only ways to heal is to either rest in a church or just get lucky and level your health up. And with towns being few and far between, and with enemies that won't stop respawning, you can see why this might become a problem fast. You have no idea how frustrating it is to be in a constant state of low health while picking up hearts that do absolutely nothing. Worst is when you desperately need to heal, but the town you happen upon turns out to be populated entirely by atheists because there's not a single church to be seen. As I said earlier, hearts are a currency in this game. You use them to buy things like some demented black market organ trading. And you need a lot of them, let me tell you. When you start the game, you only have 50, which is just enough to buy a white crystal. After that, however, you need to buy holy water, which is another 50 hearts. Then on top of that, you need to buy a thorn whip because the wet spaghetti strand you start with is almost completely useless. Unfortunately, that's 150 additional hearts you don't have. And you know what you have to do to get them? Grinding! And I suppose here we can talk about what is probably the most infamous part of the game. The day to night transition. Every 5 or so minutes, the game will stop dead in its tracks to tell you that it's transitioning to or from night mode. We all know the memes, it's a terribly annoying mechanic and it serves no purpose other than slowing down your progress and making you want to commit war crimes. During the night, enemies are stronger, shops and churches are closed, and towns are overrun with hostile ghouls. So basically, it turns the game into the 2020 pandemic. It does, however, also provide you with the shining opportunity to partake in Castlevania 2's greatest pastime. That's right, it's grinding! Because when the shops are closed, what else can you do except slay the undead? Since hearts are now money, the secondary items are unlimited and require no ammunition, with the exception of things like garlic and laurels. But your holy water, knife, and other assorted weaponry have infinite uses. Which is good, because if I had to refill my holy water, I think I'd commit a second war crime. You use holy water to uncover secrets and to help with identifying fake blocks. It's honestly a pretty essential item because without it, you'd likely miss a lot of shopkeepers who sell important items like garlic. If by some miracle you manage to find yourself inside one of the mansions in this game, then get ready because you're in for one hell of a ride. A slow, laggy, almost slug-like ride as the game completely eats ass during these segments. As I said, they're basically like Zelda dungeons, only less fun. There's never really any great puzzles to solve, you just need to find the special room with the glowing orb in it and then you can just grab the... Wait, why doesn't that work? What am I supposed to do? Shove it up my ass? Oh, okay, I see. You need to throw a wooden stake at the orb first. That makes sense. Not to mention you first have to locate the hidden merchant who sells you the damn thing, which is also very logical. You now possess Dracula's... What the fuck? The game is full of cryptic shit like this. Puzzles that you would have had absolutely no clue how to solve unless you bought a copy of Nintendo Power or had a friend who just knew the secret. And I'm not being hyperbolic here. There is legit no way you could work out some of this game's nonsensical esoteric bullshit. Take the crystal puzzles for example. Come across a stretch of water you can't pass? Why, just kneel down with a crystal in your hand and what do you know? Now the water doesn't kill you for some reason. Oh, and what's this? A dead end? No matter, just kneel with a red crystal and the fucking Tasmanian devil will appear and take you to where you need to go. How is anyone supposed to figure out any of this shit on their own? Oh, let me guess. If you speak to a random villager in some butthole town with no shops, he'll tell you,
Last Wednesday I took a shit by the river, and you won't believe what the crystal in my pocket did.
well, sorry I didn't go around asking the life story of every villager I came across. I had better things to do.
No, I didn't.
Clues to Dracula's riddle are in the town of Alba.
That's not a town, that's Scotland. The boss fights in this game are laughably bad, and there's only 3 of them. 5 mansions and 1 castle, and you're only able to give me 3 bosses? We got the Grim Reaper, a mask, and the final Dracula fight.
That's it. Each boss barely puts up a fight, and the only reason Dracula is any trouble at all is because he decides to try and fight you from several dimensions at once. And can we talk about the absolute random assortment of body parts you have to collect? A rib, an eye, a heart, a nail, and a ring? Wait, do you mean like a... Are they talking about... In the end, you collect all of Dracula's parts, walk through his completely empty castle, and throw them into the fire. But in the flames, they join together and he is reborn! Although, given the limited body parts we used, he should probably look more like this. Though I doubt we would have had the Netflix series if they went with this design.
I'm killing a boy.
You fight him, he freaks out and phases around the room, and eventually dies. And so the world is saved.
The battle has consummated. Now peace and serenity have been restored to Transylvania, and the people are free of Dracula's curse forever. And you, Simon Belmont, will always be remembered for your bravery and courage.
Okay, first of all, I'm pretty sure those last two are the same thing, and also, this screen had to be sped up by several 100% due to how slow it was. I know I'm a slow reader, but come on.
And so ends Castlevania 2: Simon's Quest, considered by many to be one of the worst games in the entire franchise. And honestly, yeah, it's pretty bad.
From the get-go, the game tells you nothing, and while I understand that NES games were limited in how much text they could use, it still does a pretty poor job of using any other method to get across your objectives. See, something like Zelda works because it uses its world building to help explain to the player what they should do. See a cave, enter it and get a sword. No objective marker needed, just good game design. It also creates rules and lets you play around with the mechanics you've learnt and gives you the tools to solve the game's mysteries without just outright telling you. It doesn't hurt that there's no completely bullshit crystal holding puzzles, but it's mainly the world design. Not to mention, having a real health and currency system that doesn't force grinding is also a bonus. Don't have enough money to afford essential items? Just spend an entire in-game day grinding for hearts. Oops, you needed health? Too bad, it's night now, so the town is full of zombies. Better grind while you wait. Remember your 3 Gs, children. Grinding is great gameplay. Stiff, unresponsive controls, unfair enemies, nonsensical puzzles, grindy as fuck gameplay, and a completely unsatisfying end make Castlevania 2: Simon's Quest a genuine chore to play. And I had a walkthrough. I can't imagine trying to play this game without assistance. It's unfair, unfun, and frankly, unholy. I banish ye, Castlevania 2. I banish ye to hell.
And with that, we come to the end of this year's Halloween games. What a lovely time it's been, except for the shit bits. 2020 has been one hell of a year in all the most terrible of ways. And although we may not be able to go out to celebrate this Halloween season, there's still plenty you can do at home to help spread some spooky festive cheer. You could watch a Halloween special, or eat an entire pumpkin of candy. Or you could sit down, relax, and partake in that sweet electronic escapism that we call video games. Just make sure it's not this one. With that being said, I'd just like to personally thank you all so much for watching, and remember, have a happy Halloween, stay safe, and be good to one another. I've been MayRey, and don't worry, I've still got one more spooky video left in me this year, so I'll be seeing you all again real soon. Good night, everybody!
Thank you all so much for watching, and a special spooky thanks to all my backers on Patreon. Aaron Loralian, Bree B, Liz Lilith, Joshua Alexander, Kira Mitchell, and Julie. Thank you all so much for your generous contributions.
This dang headband is just travelling down my face. Oh, shite. It's fine. No one will notice. Except for me, in the edit. And everyone watching at home in the blooper reel! Me and my big mouth. God, I fucking hate Big Mouth.
Was to find the 5 body parts of Dracula and burn them in his castle. Burn. What, my word, Potter, you'll finish.
Hello, my name is Lily, I'm a witch, I'm slightly overweight. But I've been losing weight with magic spells and dieting. Why are you messaging me? I hate you! Oh, it's Stephen, never mind. Holding book, there's something I forgot. Oh bugger, hit the light with me head. My hat is like, it's too low. There we go, that's better. You need to see the face. This is the money maker. Sadly, that money is only about £6 a month, but it's money. Hey ho, it's off to Sweden we go. What? You thought you would heal by picking up those hearts? Were you tattooed as a baby? It's not a saying. Were you tattooed as a baby? This is... Why? It's not funny. Nothing I write is funny. Welcome to the Slow Decay of My Mind, a documentary by Lily P. Buttersworth. I don't fucking know, is that one called? This is Halloween, this is Halloween, 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 Halloween.